This is breaking news now from today's TMJ4. Good morning, everyone. I'm Vince Vetrano. We want to take you live to a news conference that is going on right now in Waukesha as detectives there update us on the search for a missing 15-year-old girl by the name of Catherine Stahlbaum. News conference just getting underway, talking about the search for her. Let's listen in.
I stopped you before there was any.
Okay.
Sorry about that.
One of the things I want to do is I obviously I can't tell you what to include and what not to include, but one of the things that we're doing is we had dive training scheduled today. It was a normal scheduled training, and we've decided to move it to this body of water. We have no reason to believe that there's anything or anyone in that body of water. We have no evidence to believe it, but as long as we were training, we moved it. And so what I don't want is I don't want the community to be panicked. We've contacted the family. We've told them that it is not our intention to, be following up a lead by searching this body of water. But as long as we're doing it, as long as we got the staff out there, we're just going to knock it off and get it taken care of. So what I really don't want is to have people panicking to say that we got the dive team out there so they think something terrible is happening, because that's not what we believe. We're just, it's fortunate that we have the dive team available today, and we're just going to do it. Because it's good training. Just as long as they're in the water, that's good training, and we kind of kill two birds with one stone, so to speak. So if you can, on the side discussions that you have, I don't know what you call that when you're actually telling the right story after I screw it up, if you could just kind of mention that we don't have any information to believe that body of water contains any material evidence, but we're just going to do it as a kind of a matter of convenience. So that's the plan. So, and then I'll go into what we're doing, and I'll try to answer what questions we have. It sounds like you're on a time crunch. So, is there any particular questions that are burning on your mind that I can at least think about a little bit before we get going, or?
I would say just start, and then whatever you leave out.
Yeah, you're just going to nail me, aren't you, Nick? Okay.
Ready to go.
All right. Let me know who's gonna lead this.
You want to start with questions? Yeah.
Well, let me do a briefing. So tell me when you're ready to go. Okay. Thank you for coming in today. Obviously, we have a lot going on trying to find Catherine. I just wanted to fill everyone in on the operations that we've been doing overnight, what we're doing today, and what we're planning on doing later on this afternoon. Since we broke last night, we finished up some of our door-to-door searches or door-to-door canvassing, and we've basically put our plan together for today. We've also sent deputies to all the hotels that were in the general area to confirm that Catherine hasn't stopped at a hotel or checked into a hotel. This morning, our detectives showed up at about 6 o'clock. Our patrol division started putting our plans together. Today, we are going to be researching and recanvassing the area immediately around Catherine's residence. So you're going to see some deputies out in the fields and in the wooded areas. We've enlisted the help of the local fire department. So that they can assist us in manpower and in going out and doing some more searching. In addition to that, there is a body of water that is located between the residence and the high school, and we have absolutely no evidence or reason to believe that there's any substantive evidence in that body of water. However, it is fortunate today that we have our dive team that is training today, and so we've chosen to move that training exercise to that body of water so that we can just rule out the body of water. Again, I want to just emphasize for the sake of the family and for the neighbors that we have no evidence that leads us to believe that there's anything in that body of water at this time. But again, because it's fortunate that our dive team was scheduled to train today, that we're going to be able to use that resource. So we've been following up some of the leads that we've received overnight. We have detectives that are conducting interviews. We have some family members that are out of state, and we have other jurisdictions that we're communicating with, and we're trying to make sure that we're all working cooperatively, and so we're conducting interviews both in the county and actually out of state. So we're doing everything we can in that regard to follow up on those investigative leads. I'd like to give you the number again for people to call as they go back in their minds what they've been doing for the last 48 hours. If they think that they may have seen Catherine, they can call the Waukesha County Dispatch Center at 446-5090. That's a dedicated line that we've set up for this purpose. We have dispatchers standing by, and those calls are being forwarded directly, or the information from those calls is being forwarded directly to one of our deputies who is screening that information and prioritizing those tips and those leads. We also have the information. We have Catherine's picture on our Facebook page, so if anyone who wants to go to the Waukesha County Sheriff's Facebook page, you can certainly get in a little bit more information on Catherine's picture and the description of the bicycle and so forth. This afternoon, we're going to continue doing what we're doing. We're going to continue to follow up on the leads that we're getting in today, and hopefully we'll get some more information, and I'd like to get Catherine back home as soon as we can.
Sheriff Jonah Kaplan, you're live on today's TMJ4 right now. How wide is the search area? I mean, Wales, we were there today, it's not that big a town. How large are you looking? To what extent are you going in the county, beyond the county? Where are you concentrating your efforts?
Well, we're actually concentrating our efforts throughout the county right now. I mean, initially the information that we had was that Catherine was riding her bicycle to school, so that particular immediate area is certainly of a concern of ours. But we've also had some individuals that have reported possibly sighting her in other areas in the northwestern part of the county, in the city of Waukesha, and we're also expanding it out. We've contacted cab companies, bus companies. Again, we want to make sure we kind of touch every base we can. We're working with local law enforcement, and again, we're also talking with family and trying to find out if she may be trying to reach out to a family member that doesn't live in this area. So as far as the searching of the, physically looking for her, we're really focusing on where she was supposed to be and last seen. As far as the investigative leads, that's taking us in a bunch of different directions.
Do we know much about her? Is she an independent girl? Has she been out before? I mean, is this something out of character for her?
As I indicated last night, it is out of character for her. She has a good relationship with her family. She's a communicative person who keeps their family apprised of what she's doing. So it is out of character for her to be out without having regular contact. So that's, and she has not been a runaway before. So all of those are the factors that have kind of led us to believe that this is a missing that we need to put a little bit more effort in, and we need to kind of get on these leads earlier because time is important.
Eric, can you back it up a little bit and talk to us about when she was reported missing? Did the school call home? Some of those things.
Sure.
When was she first
Sure.
reported missing?
We had the information that we have is that Catherine had left for school sometime at about 6 o'clock. It would be Tuesday morning. She did not report to school, and so the school called the parents and left a message on their machine, and the parents got that message when they returned home later in the afternoon. And so they immediately began a search, and one of the parents actually stopped one of our deputies who were patrolling in their subdivision and flagged him down and made the report about 6 o'clock Tuesday night. So that's kind of the time frame, and then we've been working on this case essentially since 6 o'clock that night.
So there was no fight or anything at home or anything like that where they felt like she could have run away or been mad about something?
No indication of that.
Has there been any cell phone activity, any bank activity, anything?
We're looking at that. I really don't want to comment on individual evidentiary items that we're looking at, but we certainly are looking at financial leads. We're looking at technology leads. We are definitely looking at it and have been for the last 24 hours.
I was at the school this morning, and a lot of the students were talking about social media. What role is that playing in the search?
Well, certainly, in this day and age, we have a lot of Facebook accounts, and we've got a lot of students and folks that are using social media for a lot of things. We have people who are trained in social media and investigating offenses and doing the law enforcement work that we do with social media. So we have people that are exploring that. We have people that are looking at computer devices. We have people that are looking at those online records, trying to find any indication of any contact. So we're doing that.
Do you have any solid report that she was seen after she was supposed to have been at school that morning?
We don't. And that's a little frustrating, Nick, and I'm glad you asked the question. We have some individuals who are doing exactly what we're asking them to do. Call us if you have any information. If you think you might have seen her, we'll get a deputy to talk to those individuals and try to flesh out that information and see how accurate it is. We've got a few people that are saying, I think I saw Catherine at this particular location. We're following that up. But as of right now, I don't have any information that leads us to believe that at a certain date and time, we know that Catherine was here. That's frustrating us a little bit. And again, that's why we need the help of the folks to kind of just think back. Last night, I also mentioned that in this day and age, we've got a lot of businesses that are using video technology. We have residents that have video cameras running in their homes or around their homes. I would very much appreciate if those business owners and homeowners that have that technology and that security system running, particularly in the Wales-Genesee area, if as they review those, if they think they see somebody that's on those videotapes that might match Catherine's description, please call us at 446-5090 so that we can take a look at that video and see if we can develop some some more concrete evidence that she was at a particular place and time. That would be very helpful.
With that said, have you been able to review any video to this point? Has anyone stepped forward? Or
We have not.
No.
We have not.
Is her bike still missing?
We have not been able to locate the bike either. So we're still looking for the bicycle.
You also mentioned the public calling and then you other groups coming in to search. Any other community searches, anything else the community should, take part if they want to help a little bit more?
Well, again, we're searching the areas that we feel have the highest potential for giving us some evidence and some information. I really would prefer that we don't have people walking around just in wooded areas in general. Experience when people do that is some folks end up, they don't dress for the weather, they don't have the equipment, they don't have communication, and some people can actually hurt themselves by going out on their own and trying to search areas that either we're not interested or it might be in conflict with the searches that we're doing. So one of the important parts about any investigation of this nature is that we be systematic. Because a search that isn't done thoroughly in a systematic fashion is almost worse than no search, because then you start eliminating potential areas that you really should be focusing on because you thought you searched it well enough. So being very focused, very systematic, very conscientious on how we're conducting those searches is really important for us so that we can rule out what we've done and so we don't have to keep covering the same ground over and over again.
What is the route like between her home in the town of Genesee to the school in Wales? Is it through wooded areas, main streets? What's it like? How far is it?
It's about 2 miles. The route is basically a suburban community in Waukesha County. There certainly are fields and wooded areas nearby, but if she's on her bicycle, she has no reason to be going through any of those densely forested or areas that have a lot of foliage. That wouldn't be necessary for her to do that.
Until you get closer to the school, the bike path, the rails to trails type bike path doesn't come into play at all, does it?
Well, we certainly looked at that, and again, we haven't located any evidence or information that leads us to believe that she was on that
But
path.
initially, she'd have to use city streets and roads.
Yes.
So.
Yes.
Can you talk more about what you plan to do today and later on this evening?
Well, we've kind of covered some of that. I mean, we've got deputies, we have detectives that are out on the scene. We have our school resource officer at Kettle Moraine High School, and we're trying to follow leads through the high school as best we can. Right now, we're in a real information gathering mode. We're kind of thirsty for good leads and good tips. In the meantime, we're doing the systematic searches that I discussed. We're communicating with other law enforcement agencies that may have information or may have potential for further leads. We've followed up on a lot of different things, and basically anytime we get a tip or an idea, we're sending people out to follow that up. So we would love to have people just kind of stop, think about their day the last couple of days, go on our Facebook page, go on your individual websites, review the videos. We have a photograph of the bicycle that was posted on some of your videos last night, and I don't know, Captain Wood, if you've been able to confirm if that
The update with the
disc and
the disc? No, that has not
okay.
been taken care of.
We need to confirm this, but there's a photograph that was provided to some of you that shows the bicycle having a plastic disc in the spoke area. So that's a little distinctive and a little unique. So if somebody recalls that may kind of be a mental trigger for somebody that might have seen a young girl riding on a bike. So that was something that we kind of discovered a little earlier this morning. So we're going to follow up on that.
Fully understanding, of course, what you said earlier, that there is no specific point to the fact that she could be in this body of water. Where has the dive team, where is this body of water? Where is it? What is it like? Is it big? People don't
Yeah, it's been described to me as kind of a retention pond. So it's not very large, it's not very deep, and it's generally located, in between the home and the school.
Is it like a reservoir? Does it have a name? Is it even just a...
It's Wales Community Park.
Wales Community Park is the park, but the reservoir is, again, it's a water holding pond.
But, and to reiterate, this is something that you were going to do anyway with dive team, but you thought, well, why not just check it? There was nothing specific to that area.
Right. Well, again, normally before we put divers in the water, we would like to have some information that leads us to credibly believe that this is an avenue that we want to eliminate. We want to make sure that it's not holding some evidence. Again, we have no information, we have no leads, we have no tips that tell us you need to look in that body of water. Other than, we know it's there, it's between the home and it's between the high school. And fortunately, my dive team was scheduled to do a routine training today, so we simply moved that dive team training to the Genesee Wales area, and our dive team was more than happy to do that. They get the same training benefit, and at the same time we can hopefully eliminate that as an area of concern. But again, I don't want the family to be alarmed by that. I don't want the neighbors to be alarmed with that, and I don't want to create any kind of sense that's the direction that the investigation is going, because the direction where the investigation is going is where the evidence is leading us, and what tips we have and what information. So right now we would love more information.
Does she have a lot of friends in school? Was she a popular girl?
We've been talking to the friends. I don't want to characterize it one way or another. We've been talking to the staff at the school. We've been talking to friends that she has at school, and we're making those contacts, and we're certainly following up on all of those leads. So kind of want to wrap it up here. Again, I appreciate the fact that you've taken the time to help us find Catherine. Again, that number is 446-5090. Really interested in people giving us some idea of whether or not they've seen Catherine. We're working very diligently to make sure that we do everything we can to get her home.
One last question, if you don't mind. This affects one family, but in a way, a lot of people in this area have teenagers as kids. What do you say to parents, to families, to make sure not to inhibit their children and suffocate them, so to say? But what advice do you have them to make sure we don't have more missing teenagers?
Well, I mean, that's a pretty broad question. Having a good relationship with your kids, caring about what they're doing, keeping good communication open, and I think our family here has done all of that. Again, we've got a young lady that has never run away before. She's always been communicative with her family. She's not been the type of person to not return phone calls. So, I guess what you're asking for is we have to have good families. We have to have good family support structures. Unfortunately, kids run away. We have that pretty regularly. And on very, very rare occasions, it's because of criminal activity. Again, I don't have any information at this point to lead us that way, but again, that's obviously in the back of our mind that we want to rule other things out too, and we're going to look at everything. We want to get Catherine home safely. That's the objective, and we are not going to bypass leads, and we're not going to close off avenues of theory. We're going to do everything we can to try to find this little girl. So,
cell phone activity, did you talk about it? You didn't want to talk about
I
it?
really don't want to talk about the evidentiary issues that we're dealing with, other than to tell you that we are looking at all of those things and we're following up on those leads.
Can you give the phone number one more time? Is it 414-262?
I'm sorry. Thanks, Nick. It's 262-446-5090. That's the Waukesha County Communications Center. And I do appreciate everyone's time. Thank you.
Detective Eric Severson with the Waukesha County Sheriff's Department updating their efforts to find a 15-year-old girl who has been missing since Tuesday by the name of Catherine Stahlbaum. Her picture there and the number repeated multiple times by Inspector Severson, 262-446-5090, the number to call. Particularly relevant to the inspector's comments about what we can do to help. He's asking people to go back through their thoughts over the last 48 hours and think it's maybe not something that jumps out at you at first review, but if you think, boy, something happened to me the last couple of days that maybe just is sticking out in your mind, saying that no tip will lead them in a bad direction. They're happy to hear from anyone who thinks they might have seen anything that could be related to this case. So again, if you have any information you think may help the Waukesha County Sheriff's Department in their search for Catherine Stahlbaum, number is 262-446-5090. Today's TMJ4, obviously with multiple crews on scene there and on top of this continuing story here. And we'll bring you the latest updates throughout the morning. If any new information comes in, we'll break in right away. Meanwhile, our next update coming your way in just about 10 minutes. For now, we'll take you back to the Today Show.